everyone. Hi, welcome to the event. Are we all excited? Yeah, oh, come on. Are we all excited? Oh, better. It's so cool. We've got Francesca Simon going to be here any minute, and she's going to say hi to us all and talk about her new book. She's also going to be doing a reading for us, so we'll get to hear a bit of it if you haven't read it yet. So we're just going to say a quick thank you to Rothschild & Co., who have sponsored this event, and it couldn't be happening without them, so that's so nice of them. We're really excited to see Francesca, aren't we? Yeah, yeah. Has anyone read the book yet? Who's read the book yet? Oh, brilliant. Also, some new people. Some people are going to be able to read it for the first time then. We have got it for sale at the end, so you can buy it afterwards if you want it. Okay, so what we're going to have is we've got 40 minutes to chat with Francesca, which is going to be great. So we can hear all about the book and all about her writing. So if you guys are writers as well, you can ask her questions at the end. So we'll have 15 minutes to have a think. We'll have 15 minutes at the end to ask her any questions we'd like. And just so you know, we've got photographers going around, so we're going to have some photos of this event. And it's also all being live streamed. Should we say a big hello to everyone that's watching at home? Can we do a big hello? Let's do a big wave to the back. Hello, everyone. Amazing, amazing. So if you're watching at home, you can ask any questions in the live stream chat. So do post your questions in there, and we can ask them at the end for Francesca. So a little bit about Francesca. Has anyone read Horrid Henry? Who's read Horrid Henry? Oh my gosh, so many people. Do you know she has sold over 21 million copies of Horrid Henry? How many? That's so many. That's crazy. And she's also written over 50 books for children of all ages. So that's so exciting. And this is Two Terrible Vikings, her new book. So what do you think it would be like if your parents wanted you to be badly behaved? Oh, would that be fun? Too much fun, wouldn't it? Yeah, that's what Two Terrible Vikings is all about, because they live in a Viking kingdom where they want you to be badly behaved. And their parents are so proud because they've got the best, worst Vikings as their kids. So we've got Hack and Whack and their dog, Bitey Bitey, who have lots of adventures in the Viking kingdom. So we're going to hear a little bit about that. We're going to get a bit of the story told to us, so that's really exciting. Shall we meet Francesca? Yeah, we've got already. Shall we all go do nice big waves and hello when she comes on the screen, yeah? Here we go. Hello, Francesca. Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello,
Nice
thank
to
you for
see
joining
you all.
us. Thank you very much for joining us. We're so excited.
There. Hi.
Hi, thanks for coming. We're all so excited to see you, aren't we?
Can you see and hear me?
Yeah, we can see and hear you all good. Lovely.
Great.
How are you?
Good, thank you. I'm sad not to be there in person. I love the Channel Islands.
Oh, we'd have loved to have you over, but it's so good to have you here virtually.
Sure.
Now, we've just heard a lot about your new book, which we're really excited about, and I know you said you might read us a bit of it. Can we hear that? Would that be okay?
Yes. So Two Terrible Vikings is about two terrible Vikings. And these are Vikings, obviously they're pirates. They lived long ago. And I'm going to read you the beginning of the first story, which is Gold Hair's World and the World of Hack and Whack. Everybody, hold tight. There might be some screaming. Okay. Elsa Goldhair's birthday party. Ah! 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 Terrible screams came from the longhouse at the far end of the village. Hack stopped swinging her sword. Whack stopped swinging his axe. Bitey Bitey, their wolf cub, stopped chewing Dad's new leather boot. Ah! That sounds like Dirty Ulf, said Whack. Ah! Ah! Help! Help! Save me! That is Dirty Ulf, said Hack. She waved her sword. We have to rescue her! Whack waved his axe. It must be an ogre, he yelled, running. Or a troll, shouted Hack. We're Hack and Whack on the attack, they bellowed. as they raced across the turf towards the screams, leaping over chickens and crashing into goats. Bitey ran after them, howling and yowling. The blood-curdling shrieks seemed to be coming from a tub on the porch outside Dirty Ulf's longhouse. There was something gurgling and spluttering and squealing and splashing inside the black water. Stood there, clutching a bar of soap. Ulf, I don't need a bath!
I wonder if we keep having a read through while we wait for her to come back. Shall we do that? Yeah? Would that work? Okay, let's keep going with it a little bit. Does anyone know where we got up to? We got up to her having a bath, didn't we? Yeah, shall we see? Page, oh, does someone know? Page 7, wonderful. Oh my gosh, what an amazing audience. You're so good. Okay, we ready for this? Oh, said Hack. Oh, said Whack. This was the first they'd heard about the party. Now go away, said Dirty Ulf's mother. Nothing to see here. Stop screaming, Dirty Ulf, she screamed, attacking Ulf's ears with a spoon. No, yowled Dirty Ulf. Can we all do that? No! Is that what you all do when you have to have a bath? Hack and Whack headed home. What's a birthday party? Said Hack. I don't know, said Whack. Birthday? Birthday? The day you were born. Why would you have a party for that? Whack shrugged. Elsa is weird. Elsa liked sharing. Elsa liked playing quietly. Elsa liked telling everyone how naughty they were. Elsa thought she was a grown-up. Well, I don't want to go, said Hack. Me neither, said Whack. It would probably be really, really boring. Do you think birthday parties are boring? No, they seem to think so. Lucky we weren't invited. Yeah, lucky, said Whack. Hack and Whack were just about to enter their longhouse when they heard loud voices coming from within. Hack put a finger to her lips. Mum and Dad are talking about us, she hissed. Hack and Whack crept closer to the wattled wall next to the woodpile and cupped their ears. Can we all do that? Should we all cup our ears to listen? What do you think they're saying? She's like, come on. Hack and Whack are the worst Vikings in the village, said Mum. Whoa. Shall we see? I think we've got Francesca back. Shall we see if she'll read the rest of it for us? That would be fun. Thank you so much, guys. Oh, here she is. Lovely. Hello.
Hi. Sorry about that.
No worries. I'm afraid we read on a little bit without you.
I heard some of it. Sorry, where are you?
We are up
What
to
was your
page
last-
10. We're up to page 10.
So the top of page 10?
Yeah, that'll be fine.
And is this, can you all hear me better? Is this
That's
better?
much better, much better.
Okay. Sorry.
Don't
Okay,
worry.
I'll carry on for a bit. Mum and Dad are talking about us, she hissed. Hack and Whack crept close to the wattled wall next to the woodpile and cupped their ears. Hack and Whack are the worst Vikings in the village, said Mum. The very worst, said Dad. Hack and Whack beamed. But at least they're not like Elsa Goldhair. Thank Thor, said Dad. I would die of shame to have such a goody-goody butterface, hoity-toity salmon flapper as my daughter. God's forbid, said Mum. Did you hear? They caught her sharing last week, said Dad. Sharing? No! Her poor parents! Yes, sharing. Braggy Breadnose saw her. That girl will come to a bad end, said Dad. Glad she's not our daughter, said Mum. I blame the parents. Not like us, firm but fair, said Dad. Elsa's a terrible example. Thank Thor Hack and Whack weren't invited to her birthday party, said Mom. I wouldn't let them go even if they had been invited. Elsa Goldhair might influence them, and the next thing we'd know, they'd stop fighting and quarreling and playing with their swords. Hack and Whack had heard enough. Mum and Dad didn't want them to go? We want to go to Elsa's birthday party, they yelled, bursting through the door. You can't. You weren't invited, said Dad. Why didn't she invite us? Because you're the worst Vikings in the village, said Mum. Now go feed the chickens and then help me churn the butter. Hack scowled. Mum, what happens at a birthday party, said Whack. Mum paused. I don't know, she said. I think it's like some kind of feast. Oh, said Hack. And I think the birthday child gets gifts, which we could steal, whooped Whack. No stealing, said Mum. You steal from the people on Bad Island, not from here. And we don't call it stealing. It's called raiding. Hack and Whack nodded. Raiding, not stealing. And I will let you get the book to find out more about what happens. But I hope you heard some of the differences. I don't know if your parents would punish you for sharing or say, go and fight.
Thank you so much. That was so lovely to hear some of the story. I hope we all go and buy the book now because I want to find out what happens next. I'm so excited. Let's talk a little bit about like what you do and your writing and how you've come up writing this book, because it is so imaginative and so fun. And I think probably we've got a few people who've written before who's wanting to write over here. So what inspired you to write the book and write about Vikings?
Well, first of all, you can see behind me, I'm actually talking to you from my office, from the actual place where I do all my writing. And I hope you can see the little Viking hat in the background. What inspired me is that I hope, like many of you, I love mythology. I love Norse mythology and Norse legends. And I also love writing about badly behaved children. And it just seemed like an obvious idea to combine the two things I really love, mythology and bad children. And I also, love Viking names. So Definitely. It was kind of fun to come up with some of the names of the characters. And a lot of them are real names, names of giants. And Vikings really didn't give their children very nice names, like Evil Thorn and, Gut Teeth and Spear Nose and things like that.
So how did the characters of Hack and Whack come about? Are they based on anyone? Are they based on anything you've read or any characters you've found?
Well, not really. I mean, the names really helped me come up with the characters. I mean, what happened was that I started to think about, in Viking times, Vikings are pirates, and even though they're farmers, they go raiding, they steal. And the kind of children they would not want well-behaved, quiet children who sat quietly and did what they were told. They want fearsome children. They want the kind of the opposite of what we might want our children to be. So I just started thinking about what would it be like to be a child growing up in a Viking home. That's my little dog, by the way. You might have seen just the fluffy tail across. Yeah, it was really trying to put myself in that world and thinking like, well, what would it be like? What would it be like to be, to be parents wanting their children, to do lots of chores, but also wanting their children to be quite assertive. So it was really that. And trying just to think of fun situations like what would it be like at a birthday party? So it would be like pin the tail on the troll, not pin the tail on the donkey, or pass the fish head, not pass the parcel. So I was trying to think of our world and putting a Viking spin on it. And then there's the character of Elsa Goldhair, who's more like, so she's the town weirdo. And her parents are considered weird as well, because they're trying to bring up, better behaved children. So it's very funny.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
I love funny.
How do you find the adventures and the sort of adventures they go on? Where do they come from? Where do those ideas develop?
Well, I love reading Norse sagas, Icelandic sagas, and they're all these adventures about ogres and trolls and of it is inspired by the Viking world and by, stories of ghosts and trolls and things like that. So it's a kind of a mixture. It's a mixture of things that I just call berserkers, which is where we get our word to go berserk, to go crazy. And they were big, crazy warriors. And so I've invented the character for the new book called Grunt Iron Skull, who's the berserker. And I was thinking, what would it be like to live next door to someone like that? So you can hear that I ask myself a lot of questions. And the answer is often the story, which is one of the ways I write.
That's a really interesting way to write. I find that, yeah, that's fascinating. And also, I've noticed, like, you write a lot about siblings. I think that's quite interesting. Does anyone here have a sibling? Anyone who here has siblings? Oh, quite a lot of people. Quite a lot of you. And so what do you love about writing about siblings? It seems to be such a dynamic in your stories.
Well, I'm the eldest of four, and three of us are really close in age, like 1 year apart. And then I have a much younger brother. And I longed to be an only child. It was my great dream, because we also always lived in very small houses. And so I always had to share a bedroom with my sister, which I hated. And so I'm just very aware of that dynamic of what it's like to be an oldest child. But I realized that I'm quite bossy, the way older children are bossy. And I know that younger siblings say how much they hate having a bossy older sibling. So I just find it infinitely fascinating. Those fights. Yeah, I know people are laughing. Big fights over like who gets control of the remote and car travel, things like that. But yeah, I love the sibling dynamic. So there's not because they're twins. So they're more almost like the same. So I'm kind of working now as I'm writing more of them to the world. And I know she's more assertive than Whack. I think Whack's lazier.
Yeah. We definitely had quite a few nods from the audience then when you were talking about siblings.
Yeah, no, I can well believe it.
So I quite like all the side characters you've got throughout the story. I think they're really fun. There's lots of different funny names and characters that come in. Who's your favourite? Do you have a favourite character you love writing about?
Well, I love the wolf, Bitey Bitey, just because it's such a funny name, Bitey Bitey, which just literally popped into my head. And in fact, my son suggested, we were talking about chickens, and he suggested a chicken named Pecky Pecky, which I think will be fun. But I love Dirty Ulf, the girl. Well, there's two side characters I love. There's Dirty Ulf, mine, mad curly frizzy hair, and let's see if I can show you. I don't know if you can see her.
Yeah, we can see that.
There she is.
Oh yeah.
Hair. That's Dirty Elf, because I love the Peanuts cartoon, which has the character of Pigpen, who always had all this dirt floating around him, and so that's my homage to Pigpen, Dirty Elf. And I really like Twisty Pants. He's really fun to write because all he does is brag, and bragging and boasting characters are really fun. So no matter what anyone says, Twisty Pants always goes, oh yeah, I fought an ogre. Oh, a sea monster. Yeah, I fought a sea monster. Oh, in my house, we always have pudding. He just lies and boasts the entire time. So he is super fun to write.
I think we all know someone like that.
Yeah, but it is very fun, especially in a Viking context, because his sort of little catchphrase is, lucky you ran into me, because I know everything about this. And of course, he knows nothing. But he's always very confident that he knows everything. So that is very fun. I like to write things that make me laugh.
Yeah, definitely.
I usually laugh a lot when I'm writing.
We laughed a lot when we were reading, didn't we? Well, I'm looking at the illustrations you've just shown us. So Steve May did the illustrations for this. How important do you find the the illustrations, the pictures in the books to telling the story?
Really important. And I have to say, Steve May was not only my first choice, but the first name that popped into my head, because I write kind of fast, cartoony type stories. And I needed somebody with a fast, cartoony style. Also, Steve May has a great sense of humor. He's so funny. And so I wanted an illustrator that didn't just, you know, the girl had a red dress and then they draw somebody with a red dress. I don't give a lot of instructions, but he has so much life. These characters are really lively, and Steve's drawing is so lively. So I think that the illustrator should hopefully bring a whole other dimension to a story. I know his favorite character to draw is Bitey Bitey. He loves drawing Bitey Bitey.
The drawings of Bitey Bitey is exactly how you'd picture him. It's a lovely character.
I just thought, I've always thought it'd be wonderful to have a wolf. And I also thought it'd be very funny to have a wolf cub. And again, who's encouraged to bite people. Because as a dog owner, I spend a lot of time making sure my dog doesn't attack people and bite people and be aggressive. But no, they'd be very happy to have an aggressive dog.
So why do you love writing about mischievous characters? What draws you to those characters?
Partly, we all know the story of well-behaved characters. There's no mystery, there's no fun, there's no excitement. Essentially, they're us. We know that life. There are no surprises. And when you read, you kind of want to be both transported somewhere else and to have surprise. So if you're writing about an impish character, they're going to do and say anything. And they are going to go do and say, and they're going to go places that you wouldn't dare go. So they, in a sense, they take us on journeys that we can't go on ourselves. So it's a way of having all the fun of behaving badly and none of the consequences. So you get this kind of excitement. And as a writer, I want to be surprised. And as a reader, I want to be surprised. So, there would be no surprises writing about, little Dickie was the best behaved boy in the world. He did everything his parents told him to do. When he came home from school, he sat to say, I'm already bored. There's nothing happens to this. Something has to happen. With Horrid Henry, there's 2 stories where Peter is the star of, I think. And in both of those, he's out of character. The first one, he decides he's going to see what it's like to be bad. And in the other one, he decides he's going to take revenge on Henry. So again, he's jumping out of his normal character. It's really important to have
Perfect
something
Peter.
Unexpected.
Yeah.
Like the word suddenly is almost what you want, day-to-day life, and then suddenly, and you don't get that suddenly unless you have, a character who's impulsive and who's unpredictable. It's really the unpredictableness that I like as a writer and also as a reader, I think.
Yeah, definitely. So why did you start writing in the first place? What drove you to writing?
My father's a writer. So I grew up with thinking writing was like a really normal thing to do. My mother told me that apparently when I was about 9 years old, I came home from school and asked them if they knew that I had never been around parents who left home to go to work, because my dad always worked from home. I thought this was what adults did. They did their job from home. So it was a huge discovery to me. You might think 9 was a bit late in the day to find this out, but it was quite a shock. I really had no idea. I think a lot of children often do what their parents do because it seems normal and it seems attainable. And I've always liked writing. And I'm a massive reader. I've always been a passionate reader. And, anyone in the audience today who wants to write, be a big reader. I think that, I love books. I love being around books. And I started writing as a journalist. So I was writing for newspapers. And then what happened was my son was born, and I suddenly got a million ideas for children's books. So that was really how it happened. So I've always been comfortable writing, but I didn't know what I was good at writing. And I know that if I hadn't had Josh, I would never have written for children. It was never anything I thought about. But I just discovered that, oh, I have a real feel for this.
Yeah. And this is you're in your study where you write that now, aren't you?
I hope the picture's not too dark. I can put on some lights if you need me to. Is it okay?
It's okay. So do you always write that? Is that where you go to have your ideas?
Always.
Wow.
I'm sitting speaking to you from my desk where I write.
Wow, cool. So is that where you wrote Horrid Henry, where all these stories have come out?
Every single one.
That's amazing. That's amazing, isn't it? Wow, it's such an insight. It's like we're looking into the life of.
I know. That is the one advantage of my not being with you, is that you actually get to see my office, which I've tried to tidy up. It's, I've got lots of books and papers everywhere, so I've sort of tried to hide the worst.
Not always looking like this, is it? Then it's normally a bit messier.
It's normally a little messier, yeah.
I think that's the creative mind, though. It's normally messier spaces where you work best, I think.
Kind of. As long as I have a clear space to write, I'm okay.
Yeah, definitely. So have we got anyone here who's ever written before? Have you ever written anything? Yes, amazing. Oh, brilliant. Oh, that's lovely to hear. So Francesca, have you got any advice for all these people here who are wanting to write and writing new things and discovering that?
I have lots of advice. And my first advice is to have a notebook, an ideas notebook that you keep with you and keep by your bedside, and write down any ideas or, little bits of dialogue, anything you hear that strikes you. And because sometimes one of the best ways of coming up with an original idea for a story is to look at all these strange ideas that don't seem to be connected, and connect and smash them together. And then you could get something very original. I once was thinking about a story about writing thank you letters, because I was trying to get my son to write a thank you letter. And then my husband asked me one day, completely unrelated, have you ever thought of writing a story about Horrid Henry setting up a business? And I said, yes, a thank you letter writing business, except in his case, it would be how to write no thank you letters for terrible presents. So that's what I mean. Two completely unrelated ideas, you put them together. My other suggestions are to think about the types of stories that exist, like mystery or animal or school or ghost or romance, and put two of them together and see what you come up with. So you could have a ghost romance or a pet detective or an alien sports day. Do you see what I mean? Think of the different types of stories and put two of them together. It'll really help you come up with something more original than this is a story about my cat. Because it's hard to think of stories. And the other thing is that you don't have to write beginning, middle, and end. You can write end, beginning, middle, because lots of people start stories and they never finish them. And so if you write the end first, you might find it easier to finish. And think about a story as a journey. So you've got a character at the beginning. The middle is the twist. What happens to them to make them different at the end? Like, let's say you have a girl, a simple one, a dinosaur who's scared to swim. Okay. And at the end, maybe the dinosaur isn't scared of swimming. Well, what's happened? What's the twist in the middle to change that? Or maybe the dinosaur decides who wants to swim. But something has to happen. And the middle bit is the twist that makes that thing happen or not. But something has to happen to the character. And ask yourself lots of questions. Who is this character? Who is this person? And lots of dialogue. I think we're going to have some fabulous stories out of Guernsey now.
Yeah, definitely. I hope so. Is that how you write then? Do you write from the end to the beginning?
No, but I have an idea where my story is going to end. The writers kind of divide in two. There's one type of writer like J.K. Rowling and Mallory Blackman, and they write really detailed notes. They know everything that's going to happen. It's quite terrifying. They just know everything. That would bore me to death. I can't do that. So I just have like a few pages of notes. So myself and Jacqueline Wilson, for example, we write in a more haphazard way. I just kind of make notes. But what I do is ask myself questions. And the key question is, what does my character want? What do they want? And I can't start writing until I have an answer to that question. So, you know, like the story I read you, Hack and Whack go to Elsa's birthday party. You know, what do they want? They want to go to the party. What's stopping them? They're not invited. How do they overcome this? Okay, so I always have to know the answer to that question. Characters have to want something. And then the story is what happens to that want. But I do like to know where I'm going, even if I don't know how I'm going to get there.
Definitely. Talking of which, can we expect any more adventures from Hack and Whack?
You can. In fact, I just yesterday finished the second book, which is called Hack and Whack and Grunt the Berserker. And that is all about the horrible things that happen when a berserker moves next door. And these berserkers were absolutely, like, think of the worst neighbor in the entire world and then multiply it by 10. Ooh. And these berserkers were real, but they were crazy. And they didn't seem to feel pain, and they just charged people, and they were fighters, and it was like having the Terminator living next door to you. It was terrible. So in the next book, I also have them go to school for one day, because there were no Viking schools. Viking children did not go to school. Almost nobody could read. Almost nobody could write. It wasn't important. It was you memorized things. So you did not go to school. So I have a Viking decide he's going to set up a school. Thorkel the Stout decides he's going to set up a school. And it doesn't go very well because the parents are horrified. They think, who needs to read? So I'm going to do, and I don't know what the third one will be, but I'm doing at least 3. They're a lot of fun to write, but a fair bit of research, because I try to make them reasonably accurate. I mean, Vikings didn't have horns, and I know that we've drawn them with horns because the horns are fun. But, in terms of how they're living and what they're eating, things like that, is all accurate. They go to the market, and I had to do a lot of research, like how did they trade? What did they spend money on? How did what would this be worth? So I've kind of I hopefully got that right. I'm sure people will write and tell me if I didn't.
It's amazing though. You can tell you've researched it, and we know all those things. You learn so much from it as well.
Well, I do. I also, when I went at university, I did medieval studies. So I love the Middle Ages, and I do know something about it. But this is more specific things. Like I'll have to look up like coins. Actually, they didn't use coins particularly. They weighed things. They weighed silver. They weighed. So it was more the weight of things rather than a coin. It was pretty much trading. Oh, wow. I'll give you 2 fish for that, for that nice fish hook.
Oh, nice. That's so good. Thank you so much. We're just going to open up to any questions if anyone in the audience has got any questions. So if you want to put your hand up if you've got a question you'd like to ask, Francesca. Lovely. Oh, loads. Good. Lovely. Brilliant. We got loads. Can we start down here? Have we got a microphone coming round, so we'll just wait. We'll start down here. Lovely. If you want to say your name before you ask the question as well, it'd be lovely.
I'm Hope.
Lovely. Is it on?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, it is. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm Hope, and when did you start? Hello. When did you start liking Middle Ages?
No one's ever asked me that question. Thank you, Hope. When did I start liking the Middle Ages? Probably when I was a teenager. Because I really like Gothic architecture, and I like Gothic cathedrals, and I've spent a lot of time in France. So it was more that. I think I like the art as well, the art of the Middle Ages. Yeah, so it was kind of, the world was a very frightening place then, and I am always kind of touched by the desire to understand. And I do love medieval art. I really, really love it. It's where if ever I go to a museum, it's the first place I go. And I like the idea that everything should be in their right place. The way that like you have an arch and there's always a statue right in the middle of it. So the sort of attempt to put order into chaos. But I do like the Middle Ages. I like mythology. I like the Middle Ages. Those are my best.
Lovely. Thank you so much for that question, Hope. Thank you. Who else? Are there other questions? One down the front? Lovely. If we come down the front here. Yeah? Yeah, lovely. We'll make our way round.
There we are.
I'm Freya, and why does Hackenwack's mum want to read Black Island instead of Dare Island?
Well, first of all, Freya, Freya's one of my favorite names, and I've written 3 books with a heroine named Freya. One called The Sleeping Army, and one called The Lost Gods, because it's set in a Norse world, and Freya is a Norse name. The reason is that even though Vikings are pirates and thieves, you don't want to steal from your own house or your own village, because you wouldn't be very popular. So they live on Bear Island, and I've made Bad Island their big enemies. So you go and fight and steal from other people, not from us. I don't think thieves today they probably never rob their neighbors, because everybody would be so angry with them. So it's a way of having some fun. I like the idea that there's a place called Bad Island, in fact, there's one of the stories in this book where they go raiding. But it's more, you have to keep some order in the village. Otherwise, it would be absolute mayhem, and people would get too angry. So it's all about steal from our enemies, not from your neighbors.
Lovely. Thank you, Freya. Thank you for that question.
Good question, Freya.
Great. Have we got another one along the front here? Or back there? Yeah, one back there. You go around. You go the other side. Oh, we got one the other side. Oh, we got another microphone. Yeah, go on, pass it down that way. Lovely. Yes, go for it. Didn't see the other microphone over there.
Do many of your friends write?
Ooh.
Gosh, you guys are asking fabulous questions. Yes, because so many of my friends are writers. So yes, I do have a lot of friends who write, and it's really helpful, because if I get stuck, I can call a friend and say, oh, my story's just not working. I just don't know what I can do. Do you have any good ideas? And often the friend will have a good suggestion. So it's very helpful to have friends who are writers. My friends all seem to be writers or musicians.
Lovely. What a nice question. Thank you so much. Should we go down this side this time?
I'm loving your questions. They're so brilliant.
We've got so
Seriously.
many.
But I've never been asked. These are such great questions. So thank you.
Should we come this side first and then we'll go over there? Do you want to go ask a question? Oh, is that off?
I'm Phoebe, and did anybody give you inspiration for Moody Margaret?
Phoebe, I didn't have to look very hard to find inspiration from Moody Margaret, because do you remember I told you my sister, my brother say I was very bossy. So I made Moody Margaret a combination of me and how I imagined Margaret Thatcher would be as a child. So I put them together. And the other secret about Moody Margaret is that she was originally going to be a boy, and her name was going to be Moody Martin. And my husband's name is Martin, and for some reason, he didn't really want to be in a book called Moody Martin. So he said, you have a lot of boys. You've got Henry and Peter. Why not make Moody Martin into a girl? Because I said the character of Moody Martin wasn't working, so he was very happy. Because he was too like Horrid Henry. And then when I made Moody Martin into Moody Margaret, thinking, well, why don't I make her like me and Margaret Thatcher together? She suddenly got a real character. So yes, that's the true story of Moody Margaret.
Lovely. And we had another question on the other side. Did you want to go, hun?
What's your favourite book you've read? Righted.
My favorite book that I've written is a book called The Monstrous Child. It's about Hel, the Norse goddess of the dead, who I've written her as a very angry, funny teenager, because she rules the underworld and she really doesn't like it. So it's a very funny, very dark book, Monstrous Child. And I actually turned it into an opera, which was done at the Royal Opera House 2 years ago. Because there's lots of jealousy and anger and yelling, so it seemed very operatic.
Brilliant, thank you so much. Do we have any more questions outside? Lovely. Pass that one along. Do you want to come along to the front, little boy at the front? Yeah, a little lad at the front, that would be lovely.
Hello, I'm George.
Hi, George.
My question is, how long does it take on average for you to write one of your books?
Yeah, that depends really, because it actually takes me a really long time to think of the stories. But when I start to write them, I usually allow, for the Vikings and for Horrid Henry, about a month for each story, because I write them, I rewrite them, I change them. But I think it takes me a long time to think of the stories. Like I told you I've just finished the second book. Hack and Whack book, Hack and Whack and Grunt the Berserker. And now I'm just starting to think about the third book. And it's like I have my ears open. And I'm just like saying, okay, I want ideas. I'm going to be open to ideas. And then when I get an idea, it takes a long time to work out what's going to happen. But I would allow like a month a story at least. But then that doesn't count, then I give it to my publisher and then they want lots of changes. So then I have to rewrite it. But yeah, about a month a story, I would say.
Lovely, thank you.
But The Monstrous Child took me over a year to write. That was a complicated book.
Pass the mic down that row a little bit, because there's a few more questions down that side, I think. And we'll come the other side after.
My name's Mila, and who is your least favourite author?
Gosh, my least favorite author. I'm sure there must be one. It's not so much an author, because if I didn't like an author, I would just forget about them. I mean, I've no interest in sports. So I would never read a book about any kind of sport. So it's more like a type of book. Is there an author? I don't believe. No, I like to read lots of different things. I'm kind of stumped. It's more books that I wouldn't read. And I don't really like mysteries and detective novels. But it's not because I think I don't like the author. It's more I'm not interested in that subject. And I always cheat and look at the back page where it says, oh no, and the murderer was, and I think, okay, I've just ruined the whole book for myself. So I don't really have, I'm sure once I finish, I'll think, gosh, who is an author I can't stand? They must exist. But you have stumped me, other than no sports books, no books about sports, and no detective books.
Lovely. Shall we have our next question? Who else was wanting to ask a question? Should we come down this side this time? Yeah? Yeah.
Hi, my name is Toby, and are the people on
Bad Island British?
Ah, do you know? No, they wouldn't be, because I've set the book in a sort of Scandinavia. So it's a slight, the part of that world that I actually know and have been to are the Faroe Islands. So I'm kind of imagining it set on the Faroe Islands, except I have put trees on it, because you have to have a forest. So it's a mixture of Norway and the Faroe Islands. Bad Island is just like, I don't know if we'll ever actually go to Bad Island, because I think they'd find that Bad Island was exactly like them. No, it would be another Scandinavian group. But no, they wouldn't be British. Maybe they should be.
Right, lovely. Do we have another question along the Lovely. Let's get another one along the front, if that's right. Yeah.
What's your least favourite character?
Oh.
Well, do you know something? If I had a least favorite character, I would cut them out of the book, because I can't really write about a character that I don't like in some way. So I would just throw them out. So I don't really have a least favorite. I could have a character that I don't like writing about so much, but they have to interest me, or they wouldn't be allowed into the book. So I wouldn't say that I have a least favorite, because if you're thinking of the Horrid Henry books, there's some characters who barely exist in the book, and there's one character called Jolly Josh, but my son is called Josh, so I couldn't give him a mean Horrid Henry name. But he doesn't do very much other than, occasionally pop up as Jolly. So it's more that the most minor characters are the characters that interest me the least. So far, I'm getting to know the characters in Two Terrible Vikings. I suppose I'm trying to like Elsa Goldhair, but it's a little bit hard because she's such a goody-goody. So I'm trying to find ways to make her more interesting. Because it's obvious to me why Dirty Ulf and Twisty Pants and Hack and Whack are a lot of fun. She's not, but she's important. So I'm still kind of feeling my way to how she can be a more interesting character. I certainly wouldn't want to write a story about her.
Lovely. Thank you very much. I think we've got time for one more down the front. Is that all right? Yeah, lovely. I had a hand up for a while.
Scarlett, what's your favourite type of book?
Now I really love Victorian novels, like really, Anthony Trollope and George Eliot. I love those big fat Victorian novels. I also really love reading children's books, which I read a lot of. I'm one of those people who kind of reads everything except books about sport. But I do like Victorian fiction, but I read modern novels as well. I kind of read it. I'm one of those people who's sort of nervous if they're not reading something. What am I reading? I'm reading a biography right now about Barbara Pym. So I try to, one of the things about lockdown is I've tried to kind of expand what I read, to kind of read a little bit more broadly. But it's hard because I'm trying to keep up with modern fiction and the best children's books, which I do love to read. I love reading picture books. There is no age limit on a good book. I will enjoy a picture book every bit as much as I would enjoy a young adult novel or older novel. I feel really passionately that people should read exactly the books that they want and never think, oh, well, this is too young for me. If you're enjoying it, it's not too young for you. Like I said, I read a lot of picture books, and not just because I write them sometimes, it's because I really enjoy them. So I don't think it's harmed me.
Thank you so much. I think that's a lovely point to end on, because we just want to encourage reading and writing in all of you. I hope you get the book. The book is available to buy at the back if you would like to purchase it. So thank you so much for coming, everyone. Thank you again to Rothschild and Co for sponsoring, and thank you so much to Francesca for coming along and chatting to us. Should we just give a big round of applause, a big thank you? Thank you. It's been so amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. Hope you enjoy the rest of the Literary Festival and have a lovely day, everyone. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank
Bye,
you
Francesca.
all. And thank you for your great questions. And I hope next year I'll be with you in person.
Lovely. Bye, Francesca.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.